The sixth module in linguistic stylistics is again style features, but this time style features which are lexical. So we focus on vocabulary as a feature of style. There are many things that can be looked at. We will be talking about repetition of lexicon, of grammatical units, repetition of the same lexical item, pun, synonyms, collocations, repetition of derivational and inflectional endings, repetition of the same word with different grammatical function, with different inflections, zero affixation also, and we will also look at some deviant forms of the lexicon, neologisms, nonce formation, words formed by implying existing rules, compound formations, word blends, words, compounds formed by hyphens, register mixing, analogy, merger, archaic forms, dialectal and sociolectal forms. So we'll look at many of these forms today, and the objective is that there is a choice of lexicon which contributes to the formation of style. Style is choice. Now the choice is lexicon, and lexicon is put into syntagmatic relationship within a structure and repeated, and that gives another sense. So this is also, the lexicon is also another essential part of style of a text. So the level of lexicon comprises an important aspect because one perceives the relationship between words, sounds organized as words, and meanings. And they represent concepts, they designate concepts and meanings. So they are very important. And it's complex. The use of lexicon is not simple. They show different kind of equivalences. Sometimes words can have more general meanings than what they have in dictionary, more precise, sometimes variant meanings, and at times more particular than the objects. So vocabulary does a lot of things. We need to have a look at the vocabulary as a style feature. It does a multiplicity of things. Multiplicity of words may point to the same thing, and and one word used differently may point to different things. A lot of experiments are possible with words. Words are units, we know, that make up a syntactic group and are themselves composed of smaller meaningful units. And the common processes of word formation, we know: affixation, suffixation, compounding, and so on. The level of lexicon which we are talking about includes morphology also. For morphology is basic to word formation. Lexicon and morphology both put together give us words with different shapes. The major important style features at this level comprise repetition of the noun. Now what we are going to look at is repetition of the same lexical item, one. Repetition of synonyms, another. Repetition of same word, another. Repetition of same word with different grammatical function. Neologism, coining new words. Word blend, coming into a new word coming into existence. Words from dialects, sociolects, and some archaic forms. Let us look at repetition of lexicon. When we have repetition of the same lexical item, then this repetition has a function. Generally, the function is it represents emotional stress, or it represents emphasis, one of the two. There is a function. The repetition is functional. It is not that repetition is just for the sake of decoration. It is not decoration. It adds to the meaning. For example, let's look at some of the examples. Here is an example from Shakespeare's Merchant of Venice. Shylock the Jew, whose daughter has run away with a Christian, and she has stolen the money from home and run away with her friend, who is not a Jew, who is a Christian. So what does the father say when he learns about this? It's a great tragedy for him. He says, "My daughter, oh my ducats, oh my daughter, fled with the Christian, oh my Christian ducats." So my daughter, oh my daughter. So stress, pain, sadness. Oh my ducats, my money is also gone. Fled with the Christian, another shock. And oh, my Christian ducats, mixing vocabulary. How can ducats, how can money be Christian? So he's losing his sense. Great emotional stress. So repetitions represent great emotional stress. And Shylock the Jew, we have just seen from this example, represents one such example. Another example we could take from Othello. Oh, now forever, farewell the tranquil mind, farewell content that make ambition virtue. Oh, farewell, farewell the neighboring steed and the shrill trump, the spirit stirring drum, the ear piercing fife, the royal banner and all quality, pride, pomp and circumstances of glorious war. All this is farewell. Again, emotional stress. He put his stresses on the word farewell because his mind is disturbed and he's become abnormal. He's giving up all fame and everything. Great emotional stress. Just repetition of the word farewell. Then we have pun. Pun may be viewed as foregrounded lexical ambiguity that may result from the use of a homonymous or a polysemous word. This is often used in literature for evoking some irony or for conveying meaning indirectly. Let us take 3 examples. One example, ask for tomorrow and you shall find me a grave man. Ask for tomorrow and you shall find me a grave man. This is Marcasio talking to Wounded by Tybalt. So there is a pun on the word grave. Ask for tomorrow you shall find me a grave man. Grave man here means man in the grave, dead man. It could also mean a serious man, but it means a dead man because he dies. So there's irony. It's punning on the word. Second one, oh, how the name befits my composition. Old gaunt, indeed, and gaunt in being old. Richard II Shakespeare. Old gaunt, indeed, and gaunt in being old. So Gaunt is also dying. He's an old man, and yet he plays on his name. His name is Gaunt. He says old Gaunt, and gaunt in being old. So he's strong even in old age. Even before dying, he's very strong. He's punning on his name. Then we come to use of synonyms. Sometimes words are not used, but their synonymous expressions are repeated. Here is an example from Milton, Paradise Lost. But wherefore let we then our faithful friends, associates and co-partners of our loss, lie thus astonished on the oblivion pool? But wherefore let we then our faithful friends, associates and co-partners. All these words, friends, associates and co-partners, are synonyms. They are synonymous terms for commonness between people, friends. They are co-partners, they are associates, and they are friends. And this is, of course, these are the lines that represent the devil and his followers lying in hell. So when the devil's followers are lying in hell, then they unite and they find their unity in their association with each other. And that unity is being expressed through repetition of synonyms, friends, associate and co-partners. It represents the unity. So words have more greater meaning than just their dictionary meanings. So use of synonyms also gives not only emphasis but extra meaning. Collocation. Collocation is a term that refers to different lexical items juxtaposed in the same expression, indicating a different meaning. For example, the expression where there is smoke, there is fire means that every occurrence has a cause. So smoke and fire are related. They collocate together. So words collocate to give a common sense. Here are some lines. Scepter and crown must tumble down, and in dust be equal made, with the poor, crooked, scythe and spade. So there are 4 words here, and 2 of them collocating and another 2 collocating. Scepter and crown. What is scepter and crown? It stands for kingship. that all kings must fall. With the poor crooked, scythe and spade. What is scythe and spade? Scythe and spade is used by farmers. It represents the peasantry. So one day, kings and peasants, everyone has to go to the dust. So scepter and crown collocate for kingship, and scythe and spade collocate for peasantry. So the meaning is different. Then repetition of the same derivation or inflection lending on different words. This is also used for creating music, but let's look at these endings. Not for these I raise the song of thanks and praise, but for those obstinate questionings of sense and outward things, fallings from us vanishings, blank misgivings of a creature, moving about in worlds not realized. Questionings, ings, things, ings. Ings is not a morpheme here, but ings and things. Fallings, morpheme. Vanishings, morpheme. Misgivings, morpheme. So we have ings, 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 ings repeated. The suffix ings can be repeated, has been repeated. We can leave out the word things. Questionings, vanishings, fallings, misgivings. So these attract our attention. They are for emphasis. So even inflectional endings can be used for emphasis and create their own music. Repetition of the same word with different grammatical, again inflection, let's see. And mark in every face I meet, marks of weakness, marks of woe. Same word, mark, with inflectional ending becomes different, marks. Mark in every face, mark is a noun. Marks of weakness becomes a verb. So by an inflectional ending, noun has been changed to verb, but then the lexicon, basic lexicon is the same. Marks in every face I meet, marks of weakness, marks of woe. 1. And singing still dost soar, and soaring ever singest. Sing, soar, soaring, singest. So singing and singest, two inflectional endings, different inflectional endings on sing. And soar and soaring. So inflectional endings, they are, if you look at them closely in the context of the poem, they represent the birds flying high, soaring high, and singing. Zero affixation and different grammatical category. Another example, wouldst thou be windowed in great Rome and see thy master thus? What is windowed? Windowed means placed in a window. That his follower, he will be a spectator if Antony is captured. This is Shakespeare's Antony and Cleopatra. Wouldst thou be windowed? Would you see me? Would you see me as if I'm in a frame? You will see me as if I'm framed. I'm placed in a window. So would you like to see me as an exhibition? So he insists that he kills him. Some example of, another example, I shall see some squeaking Cleopatra buoy my greatness. Squeaking Cleopatra buoy my greatness. In the first one, the window noun was used as a verb, windowed. Now the word noun buoy is used as a verb. I shall see some squeaking Cleopatra buoy my greatness. So buoy has been used as a verb. So boys used to act as girls in Shakespearean times. It's a pun, something like that, that somebody will be repeating my greatness some boy will be repeating. Some boy will be repeating my greatness. But here boy is a verb. So the meaning becomes different. The meaning becomes that I will be made fun of after my death if I am captured. Deviation in the use of lexicon. Deviant lexical forms are a significant way of foregrounding the lexicon and to give specific significations. Here are some examples. Neologism. What is neologism? Neologism involves the creation of new word to serve literary function, and neologism takes place in either through nonce formation or by applying an existing rule of word formation to words. And this rule formation applied where it doesn't generally apply. So two ways, one is nonce formation and the other is applying existing rule to words where it normally does not apply. It gives us new words. Let's look at nonce formation. Nonce formations are new words created for a single occasion. A word manufactured for that occasion, there was no word before that. Later that word may become current in language, or it may go into disuse, doesn't matter. When it was used for the first time, it was created. So we have some examples. We have an example of pandemonium. There was a pandemonium in Parliament, a lot of noise. This word was first created by Milton in Paradise Lost for the noise made by Satan and his followers in hell. A lot of noise that they make. Another famous word is assassination. Assassination was for the first time coined by Shakespeare in Julius Caesar to show that a political murder is different from other murders. It's a political murder. He said assassination. So it was a word created for a single occasion. Of course, it's in use now, but when it was created, it was a nonce form. Then we have words formed by applying existing rules. We'll apply rules to words where they don't apply, and we apply them and get new words. Many authors exploit this. Here is an example from John Hopkins' Wreck of Deutschland. The widow making, unchilding, unfathering deeps. There is no word in the English language called unchilding, unfathering. Un is a negative prefix. That negative prefix has been used with childing and fathering to make unchilding, unfathering. And also another compound, widow making. So what is this? Compounding, hyphen is used for creating a word which has never existed. Un is used for childing, unchilding, unfathering. So these are new words formed by applying existing rule to a word where it doesn't apply. What is the function? The lines become powerful in the context of the text because these unchilding, unfathering shows the negative power of the sea. The ship is sunk and the sea has the power to take away children, to take away fathers. So unchilding, unfathering. So it has different meaning, absolutely different meaning. A communicative meaning becomes symbolic through this lexicon by the use of morphemes in places where they're not used. Then another example, and I, Tiresias, have foresuffered all. What is this foresuffered? There is no word in English language foresuffered. There is a forefront, forethought, but not foresuffered. So it is created because we have forethought, forearm. So based on that analogy, a word has been created, foresuffered. So foresuffered, it's a lexical deviation. It's a new word. But here, of course, the word refers to the concept of anticipating suffering of the future. I have foresuffered, it will happen again. I, Tiresias, have foresuffered all, and I see it now. So it is predicting what is coming in the future on the basis of what has already. So foresuffered is a new word based on applying existing rule to a word where it doesn't apply earlier. So it makes it more poetical and has a distinct meaning. Compound formations. Compound is also a common phenomena for creating new expressions, generally hyphenated. I give you a couple of examples. Shaggy bearded, fire mouthed. Shaggy bearded, Spencer, by shaggy bearded, he means goats. Fire mouthed, he means horses. Horses running. They're running very fast. Their nostrils, breathing fast. He calls them fiery mouthed. Shaggy bearded goats. In Keats' Ode to Nightingale, lethe words, light winged, deep delved, purple stained, spectre thin, leaden eyed. All these are expressions created. Most of them modifiers. Leaden eyed despair, purple stained mouth, deep delved earth, and so on. So the modifiers, but this new expression, it concentrates them with meaning. It gives a new meaning. The compound formation gives us a new word, a new expression, which concretizes meaning. It becomes a symbol, and as a symbol, it gives a different kind of a sense than if you take the words individually from a dictionary. Here they don't mean that; it means much different. Then word blends. Authors create unique word blends, and they serve expressive purposes. Word blends are either created by hyphenated expressions or by analogy or merger. We merge two words into one. Turner, in his book on stylistics, he talks about coinages. He says coinages suggest a mode of thought. So word blends suggest a mode of thought. Let us look at some of these examples. Hyphenated expressions. Now these hyphenated expressions incorporate many qualities into one expression. That's why the hyphen is there. We have already seen it from Keats's example. But here's another one. Silk sack clouds. Silk sack. Willful wavier. Meal drift molded. So these are examples. Silk sack clouds. Willful wavier. Meal drift molded. The hyphens have been used, compounds have been formed to capture the texture of clouds, the density of the clouds. So hyphenated expressions are functioning for giving us a picture of the clouds. Then there is register mixing also. At some times registers are mixed. Here is a line or lines. Today we have naming parts. Yesterday we had daily cleaning. And tomorrow morning we shall have what to do after firing. But today we have naming of parts. Japonica glistens like a coral in all the neighboring gardens. And today we have naming parts. It may sound difficult, but this has two registers. One is a register of rifle instruction. The language has been taken from rifle instruction. We have naming of the parts. Firing. So this is from how to fire. So from a firing manual, from rifle instruction, some expressions have been taken and they have been juxtaposed with the lyricism of Japonica, of gardens, of corals, of shine. So we have poetic lines and we have a register from rifles, weaponry. Both these are merged together within the same line, same stanza. So this also gives a sense of the mundane and the pretty coming together. Then analogy or merger. This leads to formation of compounds or strange expressions which function to express some literary intent, which is special. Joyce has used many words, formed many words by analogy. For example, if you study the novels of Joyce, particularly Finnegan's Wake, many words will come. I give you a couple of examples. Moosey room. One word he has coined. Whole borrow. Grace hopper. 3 words. So what is Moosey room? Moosey room has been coined on museum. But what does Moosey room mean? It's not a museum. Moosey room or musey room. Musey room where one muses, where one thinks. Whole borrow, like wheelbarrow, formed on the analogy of wheelbarrow, whole borrow. A person who borrows everything is a whole borrow. Then grace hopper, like a grasshopper, analogy is grasshopper, word from grasshopper. What does it indicate? A person who hops over the graces of others. A person who is unkind is a grasshopper. So in the same way, now all these merged forms give us different sense. Similarly, we have examples from dialects, from Shepherd's Calendar, Hidegais, Wienel, many words are used which are dialect. Socialects also, for example, I give you another example. This is from The Rivals by Sheridan. Bob Baker's The Country Squire uses strange expressions. He says odds whips and wheels, odds blushes and blooms, and so on. So kind of urban words he's using in his speeches, in his dialogues. Hardy uses rustic speech in his novels. So dialects and socialects are also used. The last one that I would like to mention is archaic forms. Sometimes archaic forms are used. Particularly, Milton used Latin words. If you use Latin words in English with a Latin meaning, then it is not English word, it's a Latin word. But then it is used in Latin. For example, There is a word secret in Latin in here. Secret meaning solitary. Secret does not mean secret in the English dictionary. Secret in Milton means solitary, alone. It is from the Latin word secretare, to remain alone. Secretare. Similarly, not sociable. Similarly, urges. Urges is not the dictionary meaning of modern English. Urges means drives. It comes from urgere, to drive. And incumbent doesn't mean the vacant position in modern English. Incumbent in English in Milton means resting, because cumbere means to rest. So from cumbere, the word incumbent has been taken. So such examples come where we have Latin meanings but not English meanings, but words are used in the Latin sense but in English. So it's Latinism. It's archaic form being used, which are no longer used for poetic purposes, to give a something which is very far away, remote in time, remote theme. So all such things can be done with the help of lexicon. To summarize, what have we done? We have looked at various uses of lexicon as style features. Mainly we've looked at repetition of lexicon, how lexicon is repeated in different ways, same lexical item, synonyms, use of pun, repetition of the same derivational or inflectional ending on different words, repetition of the same word with different grammatical ending, derivations in the lexicon, neologisms, new word formation, non-formation, words formed by applying existing rules, compound formations, hyphenated expressions, analogy merger, dialectal social forms, and archaic forms.